Dr. Jazz. Dr. Jazz.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no problem. Mother's Day.
Yeah, it is.
I don't have a mother anymore, but I'm well. I had. She passed away a few years ago, so yeah. I had her for a while. 98 years.
Oh man, that's.
She died. She was 99 when she died. Yeah.
If we make it to 99, then I signed. Yeah.
99, man. I don't know what I'm going to be doing when I'm 99, man. I just want to get through the 70s. If I can make it to 70, right? How about you?
Seventh lockdown, probably by then, like Corona 26 or something. I don't know.
Where are you, in Ljubljana? Or,
I mean, Maribor.
Maribor, but I see you have like a Ljubljana SI. Isn't that that Slovenia?
Yeah. I'm in Slovenia. Ljubljana is like 1 hour away from me, so
Maribor. Oh, okay. I see.
I don't know. Did you play Maribor? Yeah.
Zlatko Kaučuk.
Man, we played with Zlatko for 10 years. He's my main mentor in the beginning. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've done many gigs with him.
Right? I know. Yeah.
And that last recording with the strings. And,
I know. I have that one. It's beautiful. Yeah,
that's nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, sure. I know. But man, you're like, I played with so many people. You play, I've played a lot with Tony Malaby and Tom Rainey and Drew Grass and all these guys.
You play guitar, right?
Yeah, except that you. So you're on my wish list. When you're in Europe, please let me know, man. I mean, I would so much love to do some free stuff. I would appreciate, like, really.
When I did the Ljubljana Festival many years ago, and I guess it was with Zlatko.
Zlatko, yeah.
And we were staying at a hotel, the Americans, the musicians, the international, and I got driven back after rehearsal, and Tony was sitting in the lobby of the hotel. I didn't even know he was going to be there, and he goes, "Hey, Herb, yeah, come on down, man. Have a drink." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay." I said, "Of all places to see you, and." Yeah, it's cool. So you interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I started doing these talks with people I've played with, and like Tony and Tom Rainey and Drew and Mark Elias and all these guys, and then all of us I'm such a music fan also, besides being a musician, and I have records of so many musicians also, and then I'm a jazz lover and geek, and. Then I just started I love the jazz history, and I started
we have to be.
We have to be. Yeah. And then I just started. I love hearing stories by everyone, like including you today, like just how it was, like when Tim Berne told me like how it was in 1981 when you guys started doing it. I'm like a small kid, like with big ears, like listening. I love this stuff, So yeah.
Back in the 80s, in 81, we met.
I know. Yeah.
We were doing some sessions, and then. We started doing some rehearsals down in downtown Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
And the New York downtown scene was just starting, right? And we were in Brooklyn and doing our own thing. And Zon Zorn had his thing happening in the Lower East Side, New York, right? In Manhattan. So Tim had his music, and I had some of mine. I think mostly his stuff. But so our stuff was different than his because it was Tim was coming more from Julius Hemphill, and Anthony Braxton, where John Zorn was more classical avant-garde, and more sounds and stuff like that. But we had charts. We had more like a avant-garde Mingus type stuff happening, right, with the horns.
Yeah.
So it was like a different downtown Brooklyn and downtown New York. And then finally it all came together around in the mid 80s, and then the knitting factory opened up in the Bowery down there.
Yeah.
You know, the first
one. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The old knit, right? And we were doing a lot of concerts. And I remember playing the concerts in New York. Well, we first started going to Europe. Was the first time in Europe with my first was 1983 with Tim.
That was the first time you came to Europe.
Yeah, first time in Europe.
How was that like? With Paul Motion on drums? Or?
Paul Motion and Ed Schuller, that quartet.
Yeah. That's amazing.
There's a solo records out, 2 of them.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, maybe just 1. I don't know which. Yeah, 2, because we did a concert and then we hit New York, right? So we actually did Europe first.
Oh, wow.
Before New York even knew what was going on. And then we did a concert in New York. Or I don't know, I'm thinking back many years. Maybe it was the town hall in New York in 1982. Paul Motion, Ray Anderson.
Oh, wow.
In 1982. Mack Goldsbury.
Oh, yeah.
And
at Schuller, probably, right?
And Ed Schuller.
Yeah.
And me and Paul Motion, yeah, of course. And
yeah, amazing.
So we had a more expanded horn section, and that was the first gig.
Wow, man.
The first gig I did with those guys, 82. Then 83, we came to Europe with the quartet.
Yeah, I love that quartet, man. It's such a burning band it was, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's nice stuff, you know. So it opened up a whole thing. I mean, we had big audiences there. That first tour in 1983, it was a 6-week tour.
Yeah, how was that like for you? I mean, because I know Tim did it kind of like DIY, you know, right? In a way, or...
Right. Well, he invited me. Originally, it was going to be just a trio, right? But I met Tim in 81 of October. And then we did the concert in New York in 82 in the spring. And then he said he had this tour, your first European tour that he was setting up, right?
Yeah.
But he was only setting it up as a trio, alto sax, drums, and bass, right?
Okay.
But then when I was playing with him, we hooked up really good together as a horn section.
Yeah.
He says, oh man, he says, I'd love you to come to Europe. I love you to come to Europe, man. You know, and I'm going, yeah, sure. You know, I got to get a passport, of course, you know. So I'm like, so I went through all that process, and he said, well, you know, the budget only is for trio. But he says, if you come, he says, I'll pay you something, you know, just to get you over there.
Yeah.
So he paid me, you know, something, you know.
Sure.
I just wanted to get there. And it was a 6-week tour.
That's long.
Audiences in Italy and Germany, Sardinia, you know, France, all over in Europe. You know, we didn't do Eastern Europe, did we, at that time? No, I don't think. But, yeah, and it was packed.
How did the audiences react to that music?
They loved it. They were going nuts. It was like a new type of music that was coming on the scene.
Definitely.
You know, and now it seems more conservative, the audiences, you know. It's a smaller, because there's more and more people improvising, you know, you know, and there's not enough gigs for anybody, obviously. So so the audiences are smaller and more what would you say, more esoteric or something, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that was the beginning of my thing with him, you know.
How was Paul like on those? I mean, I love Paul. How was Paul like to play with Paul on those?
Paul was great. I mean,
it's not like kind of Paul's music in a way, right?
He didn't read the music, you know. it was Tim's music. Paul just played through it.
Wow. Man,
he connected with it, you know, and I mean, he was free and he was playing hard, you know.
He's burning on those.
He got a little burnt out halfway through the tour because we were playing in Switzerland, way up in the mountains, you know, like in the middle of nowhere, you know, and he was kind of like, oh man, I want to go to Cologne, man. I want to go to a big city, man. We're stuck out here for 3 days, man. All I hear are dogs and cows. And we're going, okay, Paul, chill. You know, you can go to Cologne. We're going to stay here because we liked being in the country, you know.
Sure.
But the next gig was in Cologne, and so he went ahead of us. He wanted to be in the city. So go on, Paul, you're on your own, and he was an old vet, so he was doing that.
Sure.
We left him on his own a lot when he came to the band, when he came to the bandstand, he really
played it.
Full emotion, just played the hell out of this thing. I think on one gig, he didn't like the way the drum sounded, the drum set. So he just played cymbals all night.
Man, really? Oh, wow.
He didn't even touch the drums. Tim's charts, the same charts we play every night, no drums. He just played cymbals. And then right at the end, I remember, I still talk about it with Tim. We still remember. And I think it was that Switzerland gig. He was kind of like a little moody that day because the drums weren't really happening, at the rehearsal.
Yeah.
Sound check. He's like, yeah, these drums are shit. And so we said, yeah, well, we just have to deal. And
sure.
So right at the last tune, we played 2 sets. All of a sudden, he just started bashing the shit out of the drums. Just the drums. And he just blew me and Tim, because Tim and I were playing with no mics. We were just going out for it, And he just blew us away. We're like, oh my God. It was the last tune. We were already half burned out, And I looked at Tim, I says, holy shit, And he says, oh, yeah, I'll play the drums now. I go, boom, 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 and he just crashed through it. Man. But other than that, man, he was fun to be with,
Did you ever play after that with him also, like 3 years, or?
I don't think so. Not with Tim. I think that was it. The last tour he did.
Yeah.
The last tour we did with him. I never played with him with any other group neither.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. No, because
he started doing his own thing.
Yeah.
JMP, got him going. With Bill Frisell, and
that's a beautiful trio.
And that was a nice thing that he had going with that. So he had his own thing going.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be a side man anymore.
Sure.
It was cool.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's such a nice band, that one with Tim. I've spoken, I did this interview with Tim also, and I asked him about all these, how he started doing it, and that's why I also wanted to hear your perspective. He didn't mention this crazy stuff. Yeah, some of it he did, but I love this, like, different puzzles together. I love this.
It was so many years ago. We could be elaborating on the story a little bit. I remind him certain things that happened. Like Tim told me, he goes, I don't remember the concerts. I remember the hotels.
That's the case, right? Always. You remember the food and the hotels, yeah.
Because the stages are all the same,
Exactly.
Really, it's hard to tell what country are we in?
Exactly.
Here we are, boom, boom, boom. Just to really extreme moments kind of stick in your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I don't know how many tours I did with Tim. Well, the band changed through the years, right?
Yeah, sure.
Went from the quartet and then Cause Totale.
Yeah.
With Mark Ducray. And that was like the combination of like that Dominguez band, Dominguez horns.
Yeah. With
the trombone, with Steve Swell. Bobby Previtt was in that band. So we did a European tour with that band,
Yeah.
Mark Dresser,
Morrow, yeah. That's beautiful.
And then the trio with Hank. I did the quartet with Hank and Tim.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
That never recorded. We did a tour with that in Europe. It was cello, trumpet, alto, and that was it. Wait. I think Jim Black was in that.
Oh, man. Seriously?
Yeah. Jim Black, Herb Robertson, me, and Tim.
Man.
And never recorded.
Oh, that's a shame.
But we had a few gigs in Europe. I remember festivals.
Oh, wow. That's a nice band.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was kind of like a sideline,
Yeah.
Too bad it wasn't recorded, but
yeah,
it was nice.
Yeah.
And then go on. I'm sorry.
No. Please. Sorry to interrupt you.
Here, all memories coming back.
No, please come on. Just continue. What did you want to say, Herb?
Yeah. And during that whole period, I hooked up with Mark Elias's band.
I know. Yeah. I love that Split Image and all that. Yeah,
Split Image, right? That was with Jerry
Yeah.
Hemingway. Split Image, which never came out on CD, never.
And the current set and all those records you guys did.
Yeah, I mean, I have like a cassette. No, I have a cassette. No, I must have recorded a cassette off the LP, right? Enja Records.
Yeah, Enja. Yeah, did it, yeah.
Enja. And it never came out in CD. Matthias never put it out on CD. I don't know why, but it's a great record. Even Dewey's on that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. How did you hook up with Mark, by the way? When did you guys meet?
Oh, I knew Mark. 1971.
71?
Yeah.
When was that? Like when you were in Berkeley or no?
Jersey, in New Jersey. I met him when we started a quartet.
Seriously?
In 1971. He was living in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I was living in Piscataway, where I grew up. So I was young, you know, I was just like 20 years old, 19. And we hooked up. We had a little quartet going, playing a real book and stuff like that, doing tunes.
Wow, man, really? I didn't know that.
So I knew it with him, you know, I mean, since 1971. He's the, he goes back more than anybody with me.
Yeah.
And then he kind of went over to Yale and he met all those guys like Anthony Davis and all those guys.
Yeah.
I went, where the heck did I go? Oh, I went to Canada or something. You know, we kind of split up and then we all met in New York. You know?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. You've been part of the scene, like you mentioned, 71, you know, like I have you on so many records. And I wanted to ask you like this, like I listened yesterday to this record. I don't know, this label released it live from the Stone with the Macro Cosmos with Dave Ballou and Drew and Tom Rainey. That completes Life at the Stone set.
I just got some of this one here.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Just came out on double CD.
Yeah, I listened to it on Bandcamp. Yeah, and it sounds amazing, man.
Yeah, this is like, the first set was released a few years ago. It was a double set, you know, 2 set. We had the whole night. We had the whole night there, and then Out of Your Head Records.
Yeah, Out of Your Head, exactly. Yeah.
You know, which had a nice interview. You know, I mean, they're fledgling company trying to put this music out, which is like, watch out. You know, you're not going to make any money, but I mean, it's for the love, right? Sure. Obviously, which is why we all do it, for the love.
In the end, when you make the exactly.
Once in a while, hey,
tragically,
like a couple of $100. My God,
yeah, exactly.
You know, but that record was great because the second set was released, which was never released before. In fact, I didn't even listen to the second set yet.
It's freely improvised, right? I mean, and it's totally amazing, man. It's you and Dave are like this. Jesus, man. When did you guys meet? I know you played with Satoko, right?
Dave, I met up in Canada. Actually, Ken Pickering had the festival out in Vancouver.
Yeah, I know Ken.
Late Ken Pickering, you know,
late.
Vancouver Jazz Festival, and I was there with who knows, I forget who, but I was there as a guest. I was bouncing around to the different bands. I was kind of like the token guy. Okay, put Herb in that band and then put him in this band, and then put him in that band.
Yeah,
you know?
okay.
You know, because Ken liked my playing, but I wasn't in any band at the time. But Dave came up. Dave was in that Either Or orchestra. Oh
yeah, sure. I know those guys. Yeah.
From Boston.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's where Dave's from. So Dave was in that band, and he heard me play for the first time, and he went, "Oh man, there."
It's beautiful. You guys are really.
I met him, and then the first time I played with him was in Toshiko. Not Toshiko.
Satoko Fuji. Yeah.
Fuji, Toshiko Akiyoshi. I'm thinking I just read about her the other day.
Yeah,
Toshiko. So we were in the trumpet section.
Yeah.
Then we decided we were going to do some improvising together. You know, because his style is completely different than mine. You know. I mean,
I love that. It's so.
And that's what it should be. You know, but we still connect somehow, right?
Amazingly.
I mean, and then it was remastered and remixed. John Rosenberg did it, and we told him, make it hot, make it really hot, you know, make those trumpets really sizzle out there.
Yeah, they are like really.
So we tweaked a little bit to make that go like that. You know, I got to check out the second CD. You know, when some of my CDs come out, I don't listen to them. You know, because I don't want to listen to my playing. You know what I mean?
Man.
You know, I said, I don't want, because I'll start going, why'd I do that? You know, what the hell, man? Why'd I play that? I go, well, I played that because it's me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I play the same thing all the time. You know, we always complain, you know, right? I'm always playing the same thing. I'm always playing the same thing. But maybe you're not, you know, especially if no one ever heard you play, you're not playing the same thing for them. It's only the first time they're hearing it, you know.
That's my problem. Since you're speaking of that, I wanted to ask you this, especially when freely improvising, right? How do you make it, you know, sometimes when you're not there in the moment, you get caught in the kind of your licks, you know, you have certain phrases, I guess, which are, like you said, are a part of you, but at least I get sick of hearing them myself. I don't know. But like, how is it with you when freely improvising? How do you make it fresh for you that you're not, that you are in the moment? How do you do that? How do you approach free improv?
Yeah, I have like a theory, a concept when I play free for myself.
Oh yeah, please. Can you?
I give myself a form to play on. I set it up just for me, you know, ahead of time before playing, improvising, you know, and then I kind of incorporate it into my playing. I'm trying to give it like a theme recapitulation thing. So in other words, I might play something, you know, I'll start playing free, whatever comes out, boom, you know, boom. And I don't like to really play solo a cappella. I like other people. I want to see the sympathetic vibration.
Sure.
I want to hear this. And that gives me something to play with, you know. So then I'll play something. I'll start playing free, complimenting the sounds that are going around me or contrasting the sounds that are going around. I mean, I try not to think about it too much in the beginning. I just try to go.
Sure. Yeah.
But then all of a sudden I might play a phrase that I like. It hits me, you know, oh, geez, I played something lyrical or whatever. Something pops out. And I go, oh okay, I'm going to keep that because I remember. I'm going to hold on to that phrase, remember it. And I'm going to come back to that later.
Yeah. So
then I'll play that phrase, not knowing what it is, but something that I can remember, not some sound that I can never duplicate again. It's like some real notes, right? So I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And I try to remember it, and I keep going. And then later on, I'll return to it to give it structure, form, right?
Yeah.
And it might be a little variated. It's not going to be the same, obviously, because you don't remember everything exactly, you know, because there's no written music. So I'm just going. So that's what I do there. And then I just go off again from there, variate on that, and come around, you know.
That's a good concept.
I just have a really big palette of sounds.
Of course, yeah.
I accumulated accidentally.
No, it's not accidentally. It's
no, but I mean, really, I'm coming from a hard bop background, right?
Yeah.
I went to Berkeley, of course, you know, back in '69, right? So originally I was a lead trumpet player, a big band, so I had the chops, right?
Sure.
So I could play high notes and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So I then had those super chops for playing lead in the big band. And then I got kind of burnt out playing lead. I didn't want to go in that direction.
Sure.
And I knew I could still play the blues, take solos, you know. So I wanted to go in that direction, but with the chops, you know.
Yeah.
So, so it come from a hard bop thing. And then I went into the free thing later on.
Yeah.
Because I still figured when I was playing hard bop, it still wasn't me. You know, I mean, I was young. And I said, there's Freddie Hubbard, you know, Donald Byrd, Don Ellis.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going, but those guys can do that shit perfectly. You know, why should I? That's them. You know, and I went, I can play that, but I was duplicating. I still didn't feel like I was doing my thing.
Interesting. Yeah.
So until I started playing free.
Did you like speaking of Freddie and like, I don't know, Miles and these guys? Did you see those guys live also, like back in the late '60s or early '70s? Like,
yeah, the Bitches Brew Band. That's what I. 1969. Yeah.
How was that like? I mean, for you, like, because this was quite fresh then, right?
Yeah, it just blew my mind. I mean, I was like 17, 18 years old. Man. You know, I was like, oh, holy shit. You know, because I was just listening to a lot of, back in the 60s, there was a lot of Blue Note records.
Yeah.
All those Blue Note records that were like, they were really stretching the stuff.
Yeah, incredible stuff there. Yeah.
I mean, that was a period of Blue Note I just saturated myself with that, you know. My parents thought I was nuts, you know, because I was listening to that music all day long, you know. I mean, wow. I'd come home from school and there was radio stations on in New York.
Yeah.
WLIB. I had to get home. I got home from school before my parents came home from work, you know, or whatever. I would turn on the radio really in the living room, full blast, and just listening to the Blue Note records on on FM radio.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful.
Back then, it doesn't exist anymore, right? I mean, but I mean, there were like some good jazz stations back then, you know, and then that's how I got my thing. And it wasn't until I met this one drummer, and he said, "Man, you should play free, man. You should play free." And I'm going, "What? What do you mean play free? Yeah, let's just play free, drums and trumpet. Go on, you know."
Oh,
you know, we had a gig up in the Catskills in the mountains, you know, and during the day we just started playing free. And I said, I really enjoyed that. I had my own thing going, you know. Immediately I said, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, amazing.
And incorporate the hard bop stuff into that to bring that lyricism in there.
Yeah.
No matter how far out it got, I could still bring that little thing in there, you know, little jazz thing in there. But and now, of course, I was listening to a lot of classical music. You know, Stravinsky, Varese just blew my mind. Edgar Varese, Jorgi Ligeti.
Yeah, man, Ligeti, I love Ligeti. Yeah,
his stuff was amazing, right? So I mean, I just like, wow, this blew my mind. You know, just the big,
the structures and the
whole
clusters and all this stuff.
Joined it in, and all of a sudden, then I started, of course, Ornette and Don Cherry, and then I got into Lester and the Art Ensemble Chicago, you know, and all that stuff. So kind of incorporated in there.
Yeah,
young, you know.
That's good. How important was Berkeley in this case? I mean, you spent 3 years in Berkeley, and there were guys like Lovano and Billy Drews there, and all these guys, right?
Yeah. Billy was there when I was there. He was in my class. Lovano was a younger.
Okay.
You know, he came in late after I left, or maybe I was a junior. I was there three and a half years before I left on the road. And but Billy Drews was there, Art Barron.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, so many people.
Garzone probably, right? Or
yeah. I mean, Charlie Mariano was my teacher.
Oh really? Oh wow, man.
Yeah, he was teaching improvisation, and we had a little group there. Victor Brazil was in that.
So how was that like?
America. It was amazing. He put me in that situation, and we were playing Toshiko's charts. You know, I mean, so he was incorporating a lot of the Japanese scales and stuff like that in the music, but we would have us play free. And Herb Pomeroy put me in that ensemble because I was an improviser. You know, and they wanted to culture me as a lead trumpet player because I had trumpet.
Okay.
Because all those big bands at Berkeley, right?
Yeah.
And originally I wanted to go with Buddy Rich's big band or Woody Herman's, right? I mean, that's what I want to do, you know. And then I said, nah, you know. But I mean, Bill Chase came into school and Lynn Biviano, all those guys. So it was Lenny Johnson. So that Berkeley was a great experience because I was playing 25 hours a week in ensembles.
Yeah, that's good then. Yeah.
All the time. And they said, this is the most music I ever played in my life in 1 week, you know. Yeah. I mean, I developed all these chops. I could read. I was reading all these charts, you know. I was in so many big bands. And then I got into top bands, you know, Herb Pomeroy's recording band and Phil Wilson's Dues band. so they were the two top bands in the school.
Yeah.
Big bands. And I really didn't get into the avant-garde until I left Berkeley.
But after Berkeley, you went back to New York? I mean, to Jersey or to New York immediately? Or?
No, I went on the road in Canada. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And burnt myself out in Canada. You know, playing a jazz rock band, you know.
Oh, shit, really?
Playing really hard, high, trumpet, loud.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Until I blew my chops out in Vancouver somewhere. We were on tour.
Oh, man.
I remember I had to hitchhike all the way back to New Jersey, you know. I took a train. I don't know. Luckily, the trumpet player's father was a conductor on the train. He snuck us on the train so we can get back to Toronto. And then from Toronto, I scrounged enough money to take the bus to New York.
Oh, man.
And then I took a taxi to New Jersey. And I just like, I'm burnt out, you know. Sure. I went to my parents' house. I couldn't. I said, I got to quit music. I couldn't play anymore. But that's when I started to reassess myself.
What to do, yeah.
I went back to my teacher in Philadelphia, and he straightened me out a little bit. I started working on my chops, trying to start all over again, you know.
Man.
That's when I said, I'm not going to play lead anymore. It's too much. I built up my chops a little bit, and then I went to the Catskills. I had a couple of day gigs, you know, when I was really down and out at that time, you know. This is like early 70s, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then I got this gig up in the Catskills. And that's where I met the drummer who introduced me to Ornette and all that, you know.
This stuff, yeah.
And started playing free, and I went, wow, that's it. And then I went to New York City, yeah.
What was your first experience like getting, who were, I mean, we mentioned Tim and Mark Elias, right? But like, who were the first connections when you came to the New York scene, and how was that like for you, late 70s, I guess, making a name on the scene?
Ed Schuller.
Oh, really?
He introduced me to Tim.
Okay.
We were doing sessions. They were living out in New Jersey, and I was still in New Jersey at the time before I went into New York. And we were doing free sessions, playing free, getting together. Mack Goldsbury.
Oh, yeah.
Ed Schuller, Peter Lamette, who died many years ago, a drummer. He lived in Chinatown in New York. And we used to do sessions at his place, just play free. And this was like, that's where I met Tim, because we would get together, a bunch of us. Who else was in it? Can't remember. Frank Kimbrough was in there. He just passed away, Frank Kimbrough.
Oh, yeah, the piano player. Oh, man, really? I didn't know that, man. Seriously.
Yeah, he was in the band.
Oh, wow.
Who else was in that band? We had 3 bass players in the band. Ed.
Wow.
A couple of other guys. Ratzel Harris was in that band.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this is in the late 70s. 77, 78.
Wow.
79. And we would just get together and jam, bunch of us, once a week, and just play free, you know, just go nuts. And then one day Tim was invited over. I never, you know, and so Tim showed up. And that's when we looked, you know, that's when when we were playing, it went, holy, I mean, I was really hooking up with him, you know.
Yeah.
We were breathing together. We kind of looked at each other and went, wow, this is cool, you know. And that's when I got together and broke into that scene, you know. But it was through the New Jersey improvisers, and then introduced from Ed Schuller into New York, you know, because Ed was playing with Tim at the time.
Yeah.
And I think Tim was playing the trumpet, Oludara.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oludara, sure. I know him. Yeah, sure.
And Tim had the label. What was it? He had his record label.
Yeah.
What was that label?
Not Screwgun. Screwgun was later.
That was before that.
I know which one. Yeah, I'm spacing out.
We got into before Columbia and all that. So,
yeah.
You know, what was it? It had a royalty name, King, Queen. I forget. Wow, really slipped my mind there. Funny, I forgot that.
No, it's
wrong. You know.
No, but I know what you mean, because he did those 5-year plan records and all that stuff.
5-year plan.
Empire
Records, right?
Empire, exactly.
So Tim was really doing his own thing.
Yeah.
He was one of the first to start his own record thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he had a whole business connection together, you know. He was really like on the vanguard of that, knowing that if you want to play this music, you got to put it out yourself.
Yeah.
And it was really like a bit ambitious for that time doing that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But then some of the other like the Soul Note and Black Saint finally accepted that and took them on, and Columbia for those 2 records.
Yeah.
Fulton Street Mall and
that's a good one. Yeah.
Sanctified Dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then JMT after that.
Yeah. I mean, you did that first record, Transparency, which one of my favorite records, seriously, like with Bill and all that stuff, incredible stuff. But did those guys encourage you, Mark and Tim, to become a band leader? How did your story becoming a band leader begin?
They knew that I could write music, but I wasn't really. I was so good at being a side man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did all the side person stuff, and in fact, if I look at my discography, I go, "Holy crow!"
Yeah, it's incredible.
Someone interviewed, he says, "You're like the Clark Terry of avant-garde trumpet," because you were on all these recordings,
sure.
Obscure, all these recordings, which are almost impossible to find today, right?
Yeah.
I think you can find them on Amazon or something for
you have to dig for some records.
You got to pay like $150 for a record. That who's going to pay that? So you could find something like that. And there's always a Transparency came about because they knew I could write music, but I really wasn't really comfortable about being a leader yet. So we went into the studio and we recorded this on spec. I didn't have a label or nothing. We recorded Transparency, and then I was going to shop it around. Tim was going to help me shop it.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, JMT was a new label starting. He said, this guy Stefan Winter in Munich, right? And why don't we just send it over there and see if he likes it? In fact, so we sent a record or a tape or whatever, an excerpt of Transparency, and he loved it. He decided he was going to put it out. It was actually probably the second after the Steve Coleman stuff. I think it was the second.
Oh, yeah, Motherland Pulse probably. Yeah, he did first. Yeah,
right. It was the second one that came out, and then Tim got on the label after me. But Tim is more prolific at writing. Like they always tried to encourage me to write.
Yeah, but you wrote, man, those Flocculus and Fantasia, those tunes are beautiful. Like,
yeah.
Beautiful.
And then the ultimate thing was like, they said, you can write, you can compose, because I never was like at Berkeley. You were either a player or a composer. You can't be both. It was kind of like, if I was a performance major, right? I was going to be a trumpet player, make a living playing the trumpet. So that was my specialty. So I had all classes for that at Berkeley. Just performance.
Yeah.
And then you had the rearrangers. These were the diploma courses. This is before Berkeley was accredited as a university.
Yeah, sure.
Where you can get a degree in teaching or whatever. Now you can, but back then it was just diplomas. You can't teach in the school.
Yeah.
But you can become an arranger, a composer, or you can become a performer. But then there was always some that could cross over. When we found out the best arrangers were performers too.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Yeah, sure.
And vice versa. But I never really took that. I always said, I'll just do that. But I knew I was always writing some little things here and there. Some through the
ideas.
Years. Yeah. But I never really said I'm not going to become a composer in that sense. But then the few things that I did write, Tim and Mark liked what I wrote. And they said, man, there's something there. You should write more. And that's what I did. And then I wrote some more. And then I did that. And then the ultimate was certified,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as composition goes.
Yes, with Ed and Phil, right? And Mack is on it, yeah.
Mack is on that. And Dave Taylor. Bass trombone.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's a nice record, and Excerpts live in Willisau.
Yeah, I love that also. Yeah.
That's a real nice one too.
Bob Stewart, right? And Robin Eubanks and all those guys. I think it's Robin Eubanks.
Oh, that's
no. That's Shades of Bud Powell. Yeah.
Hey, Bud Powell, which is another.
Yeah, I love that one as well. Yeah.
I was assigned to do that.
That's a beautiful record.
I think Polydor KK, which Bamboo was hooking up with the Japanese Polydor KK, which was the distributor for JMT, and they wanted me to write certain pieces from Bud Powell. Oh, we want this piece, so I had to arrange that, and then I went with this piece, and then I crossed it in, and I said, you know what I want to do? Since it's Bud Powell, who's a pianist, I'm not going to have a piano in the band. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's quite a like okay, that's
you're right. No piano in the band. Just brass and drums.
I love that. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah, but Excerpts live in Willisau was
with Joey, right? With Joey Berne and Tim. Yeah,
Lindsey on bass.
Yeah.
And Gus Chillis playing vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
That was with vibes, vibraphone.
How did you meet up with Joey? Because you and Joey also, like, on those records sound amazing together, by the way. Like
through Tim, obviously.
Through Tim also, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tim suggested certain players.
And Bill was also through Tim, like Frisell?
Bill was also through Tim. I think Bill was doing that with Minor Music, that duo record that he did with Tim.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it, but
theoretically, I think no.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and then I was going to do this Transparency, and I said, who should I use? And Tim says, well, let's use Frisell and Joey.
Yes.
Basically,
so
Tim's rhythm section. Yeah. Except Lindsey.
Lindsey, yeah.
So Lindsey, I don't know how we got Lindsey in the band. We must have known him through. Well, he was living in Brooklyn too, so it was just like a Brooklyn connection.
Yeah.
Except Joey was in Manhattan, but so that's how that all worked about through that. But then later on, after the 80s and 90s, I just decided I was going to start playing more free stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And stop composing, stop writing music. Because, whenever I'm performing, on the trumpet, I get into the trumpet, then I don't write anymore.
Yeah, interesting.
If I'm going to write, then the trumpet has to go away, and then I can't play what I wrote.
Yeah,
because I have no chops. Because I haven't played the trumpet, But so it's a fine line between those two for me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like. I wanted to ask you, like, how did you hook up those records for Clean Feet, Elaboration and Real Eberation with Tim also, and Mark Dresser and Tom Rainey? How did those groups happen? Like, again, I love those records. Those are like amazing, by the way. Like
we had like
Sylvie also.
Yeah, that was Sylvie was playing piano, right?
Yeah,
Sylvie Courvoisier, right?
Yeah.
Well, I knew Sylvie through Mark Feldman because we lived together in the same building in Brooklyn. Mark was downstairs and I was upstairs, and Sylvie was with Mark.
Yeah,
and I decided Elaboration. We're playing with Tom a lot. We were improvising a lot in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
at Tom's place on Bridge Street in Brooklyn. I mean, that was we were doing jam sessions there, so we were always Tim and me and Tom.
Oh, wow, beautiful.
And Kenny Werner.
Oh yeah, the piano. Yeah.
Because they were living together, and that's where I met Ratzo and all those guys. So that was another improvising group down there.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
So we started borrowing people from there and mixing it into our stuff. Tim and me.
Yeah.
To put it into the music. So that's how we got hooked up with Tom for all those years. Yeah. So Tom was the drummer. Mark Dresser, obviously, through Tim, because he was doing the stuff, Fractured Fairy Tales and all.
Yeah.
The earlier JMT stuff.
Yeah. So
we had Mark, and we had, and Sylvie, because I said, well, I'll wait for piano. I'm going to write for piano now. Okay, so, you know, do that. And I wrote for piano, and she corrected everything that I wrote. So that was great. She goes, oh, yeah, this is good. This is good, Tim, but you should write it like this for piano. I'm going, oh, okay, good. I said, well, you play the piano, so you could fix that. Yeah, right? So because I wrote out her part, you know, with the grand staff, you know, and I was putting in the, you know, the chords and stuff, you know, but she said I had it but wrong, you know. She had to fix it so it would look more pianistic, you know. So she rewrote out a lot of the stuff, you know, by hand, the piano music. Yeah. It was my stuff, but she rewrote it so she could read it. You got to put the flag up this way instead of that way, you know. It's like, it's easier to read, you know. I'm going, yeah, okay, cool. I said, so that was cool. You know, she helped a lot there. And we rehearsed and set up a tour, you know, a European tour. Yeah. We did a recording. My sister helped pay for the recording. I had no money, so I paid everybody for the recording, and my sister had that's good. Yeah. The finances. And then we had the European tour set up because I was hooked up with Anna Isabel with Ruby Flower Records for a little while, you know. Yeah. And she decided to hook this tour up, you know.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's such a nice band, man. Really, I love it.
And that was nice. And then the second record came out on Clean Feed.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, with the dog, you know, what was it called? Re-elaboration.
Re-elaboration, yeah.
Re-elaboration, which is like
aberration,
which means re-elaboration. You say it fast. Re-elaboration, re-elaboration, and then I put that version on the record. You know that.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Live version. You know, so that was nice to do that. Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable in the role of a band leader, like having, like, let's say that quintet, like amazing cats around you?
I have to admit that tour drove me nuts. It really did. You know, I was dealing with my manager, and I was dealing with the road and the promoters and the flights and you know, and the train traveling, and I went, whoa, man, it was overwhelming for me, you know. So that's the only part of being a leader that I don't like, is doing the stuff that a manager's supposed to do.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Or publicist, or, you know, if you become a leader, you have to do all of that stuff. Sure. Now, in jazz, right?
Sure. I mean, in jazz, definitely. Yeah.
In avant-garde jazz, especially. If you want to do it. Forget it. You got to do everything, you know. And you got to be a psychologist.
And you got to play music then, actually.
You got to play music at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Funny. And still tried, and, you know, and Tim always said, I don't know how you did it, man. He says, this tour is really crazy, man. He says, and you can still come up at the end of the night and play your ass off, you know, like, and then go back to being crazy on the road with your manager and stuff, you know. Man, it was a little rough doing that tour, but we got through it. And but ever since that tour, I went, oh man, I don't know if I want to do that again.
Yeah, it's hard.
No, it's tough, you know. And now today, who knows, you know?
Yeah.
With the pandemic and stuff,
it's
everything's dead. I haven't had a gig. I haven't had a gig since last February, you know.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of everyone is.
I mean, we had a lot of gigs lined up. They all got canceled, right?
Yeah.
So it's still, I mean, they were postponed.
Yeah.
Who knows when they'll come back, right? Postponed. Yeah. So I practice the trumpet every day, and I go, okay, that's cool.
But
I had no gig, but I practice. Yeah, it still works.
You know? It still works. That's good. But I wanted to ask you. You know, you mentioned Europe, and we started this talk with you going with Tim to Europe in 1983, right? And you've been so involved also in the European free scene, especially. And, you know, I'm doing this interview with Barry Guy next month, and you've been involved with Barry so much, and I love Barry. Yeah. And the stuff you did with him, like that Radio Rondo, Amphi, and that stuff.
Yeah.
And you sound amazing with Barry. And I wanted to ask you, how did you hook up with this European British kind of scene, Paul Lytton and, you know, all these guys? And
Yeah, and
Evan Parker. Yeah, Evan. How did you hook up?
I did a tour with Evan. We had, you know, with my music with
really?
Auguste Fernandez. You know that?
Yeah. Sure,
you know,
I love him.
We actually put out a record on Ruby Flower with Evan, Auguste, and me, trio.
Really? I have to check it out. Wow, I don't know that one.
I don't know if you can find it. It's on Ruby Flower. I don't even know if I have a copy of it. I think I got. That's when I was breaking off from Ruby Flower Records, so things got a little messed up, and she kept all of the tape.
Yeah. Okay. Oh shit. Yeah.
Oh, I don't have it, but maybe you can find that record.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Barry did the liner notes to that record. Barry Guy did the liner notes. What the heck's the name? I don't even.
But that's parallelisms.
Parallelisms.
I think I have this on MP3. I think so. Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, but
yeah, that was what. So I hooked up with those guys through the London Jazz Composers Orchestra. Now this is like before I moved to Berlin. I was living in Berlin for 4 years.
Yeah, how did that happen? By the way,
my wife is German.
Ah, okay, good, okay.
And she was living with me in Brooklyn, and then she left and went back to Germany. And we split, and I stayed in Brooklyn. And then then I went on tour in Europe, and then she says, move to Berlin, because she found this apartment, which was artist subsidized, you know. So I was an artist, so I had that, which we don't have any artist subsidy in America.
Sure.
So I went to Germany, right? And
so that's how you started with the European scene.
With the European thing, I started bouncing around Europe. Yeah. I was becoming a European, you know. And Mack Goldsbury was living in Berlin.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh.
He lived there for many years. Now he lives in LA. Yeah, so I was playing with the Amsterdam people too, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody in Amsterdam. I stayed there for months sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Because I hooked up with a lot of the Dutch people. And then, but with Barry, it was through a Downbeat magazine critic. What's his name? John. I don't even know if he was writing. He used to review records and stuff. And he was hooked up with Barry. John, I can't think.
Oh shit! Yeah.
C, starts with a C.
European guy or
no, American?
John
Corbin.
Oh yeah, Corbett. John Corbett.
John Corbett. Yeah.
Yeah.
He hooked me up with Barry.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because one of his trumpet players in the London Jazz Composers Orchestra couldn't make it. So and Barry was going to do an American tour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And go to Vancouver for the festival with Ken Pickering. So John Corbett was in Chicago, and we had some stop-offs in Chicago, a gig there. And John was there because that's where Downbeat was based in Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, yeah.
And he said, yeah, get Herb Robertson, you know. And Barry goes, okay, cool, you know, get Herb in the band. And then he liked what I did. We did the festival with that band, and then he formed a little band.
Yeah.
The Barry Guy New Orchestra.
New Orchestra, yeah, I love that group, yeah.
And you're going to interview him next week? Tell him I said hi. I talked to Maya. I sent Maya an email that they asked how we were doing because he broke that band up, you know?
Yeah.
Because, well, I guess it had its heyday.
It was such players, Augusti and Paul Litton and all these guys. Yeah.
Right. And, you know, of course, the old boys, you know, the old boys, they have that trio, you know, and I was the next old boy on the band. But then you had the Swedish guys in the band, like Gustafsson and all those people, you know. Yeah. We're amazing freaking players, man.
Yeah.
You know? I said, the late Johannes Bauer.
Man, such a player.
Great player, you know. And Paraka Homelander on tuba.
Oh, yeah, the tuba, man. Such a beast, yeah.
And, you know, like Hans Kolf on bass clarinet and soprano and of course all those guys, you know.
Yeah. Do you see a difference? I wanted to ask you, like, between...
We did a lot of tours with that band in Europe.
Yeah? Wow.
With that Barry Guy band.
Guy Orchestra.
Not long tours, but they were like short festivals and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it got too expensive for them, and the audience started dwindling down. You know, the interest in that band fell. And Barry's a classical composer too.
Yeah.
He wanted to get more into writing for classical musicians.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he started doing that, and after the Italian gig fell through in Italy a few years ago, we were supposed to do this festival, and everything started falling through. They said no.
Yeah.
And when he decided, Maya and him decided to break up the band because it just
couldn't work. Yeah.
Things were getting canceled left and right.
Sure.
So I had to go in a different direction. But I guess they're still playing together. I actually sent Evan an email a couple of months ago just to check in. Yeah, how you doing? It's been, just to see if everybody's still alive.
Sure, of course. Yeah, these times that's how you keep in touch through these virtual zeros and ones. That's it.
And now with the Zoom thing, it's cool,
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I hooked up with those guys.
No, but I wanted to ask you, Herb, like, how do you see the difference? Let's say I know you mentioned the Dutch scene, and let's say Barry Guy is kind of the British scene with Evan and Paul. Like, and you come from New York. How do you compare these three? Yeah, let's say these three improvisational scenes or styles. Do you see the differences, or even Scandinavian then, like, or not? Like when you
and the German thing too.
The German of Berlin, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, Berlin with Frank Rakowski.
Sure, sure.
I mean, that's a whole different thing. That music's a little bit more structured, or like that. Mm-hmm. I think the Dutch music is a little bit more like American music. It's a little bit more has more animation to it.
Swingish almost also.
Right, it's a swingish type of music. So I always connected with the Dutch musicians because of the American Dutch thing is very close.
Yeah.
And then the British, because they just had that whole free improv.
Yeah, it's incredible.
The John Stevens thing, I mean, from years ago, and the late, I just have his record, Standards, playing the guitar.
Derek Bailey.
Yeah, amazing. Huh?
Did you ever play with Derek?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Actually, I played with him with Butch Morris.
Seriously?
In Amsterdam.
How was that like?
It was a festival.
Wow.
Cecil Taylor. I played with Cecil. Cecil there. It was Anthony Braxton. Again, bounced around. I was in Cecil Taylor's band.
Really?
Big band. I was in Anthony Braxton's band, and in Misha Mengelberg's band, and then Butch Morris's conduction band at that time. That was, and that's where Derek was in that band.
Wow.
And me and Leo Smith on trumpet.
Yeah.
And I think,
that's
I mean, it's just a festival we were put together, and but Derek's quit the band. He said, I don't want to play in this. He had
his own thing.
Yeah. He just like went, no, this ain't for me, man. That's like me. I think he walked out of one of the rehearsals. He said, I don't want to play in this.
Man, that's so bizarre.
But he was funny, man. He was like a really like a comedian. It was like funny. But his in the 70s, I always used to love his playing. It was just so different, so good sounds and nature, just like nature, I mean, just I was out in the woods and I would listen to his solo guitar stuff.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah.
Man, I was just like, wow, what he could do with that, Yeah, so that's the whole thing with that, like the British improv scene.
Yeah.
The German structured, hard written music scene, and playing free, and then the Dutch fun stuff, the swingy stuff. You can lay back a little bit, just.
Did you play with Han
On Bennett, yeah.
You did also? Oh, okay. Yeah, and it just came to my mind.
That was a nice thing. I mean, we did a nice thing together because we had like a real animation together, you know. I mean, his playing and mine, we have a big palette of improvisation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ability. So, you know, we kind of, it worked together really well, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. I had so much fun, man.
Yeah, beautiful stuff, man. It's amazing.
There was so much good stuff. I mean, here's some of the. I'll flash some of the most recent. All right.
This was amazing. Yeah.
This was on Not Two Records from Poland.
Yeah, sure. I did some records for them. Yeah. It's with
the Party Enders.
Oh, I haven't listened to this one yet. Oh wow, I have to check it out.
Check it out. Put the Party Enders. Some of the local guys from me: Herb Robertson, Dave Kazarowski, and Adrian Velosin is a drummer, and Kate Dave is the bass. So it's trumpet, bass, and drums live in Baltimore.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Some improv. That's on Not Two. The Party Enders. That's Jack Kerouac's grave, and then
beautiful. I didn't know this one.
And also on Not Two. Is this Not Two? Rumble Seat?
No, also don't have. I mean, I listened to the one with Simon Nabato that you did playing.
Yeah. Right. This is Sorgan, Harvey Sorgan.
Harvey, yeah.
Me and Steve Rust on bass.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Rumble Seat, that's on Not Two. Nice. You check that out. And then, yeah, the Simon thing, you know that one, right?
Yeah, this is an amazing one. I love this one.
What's that called? Plane,
yeah. Such a beautiful record.
You know, he mailed me a bunch of those CDs and it got lost. I never got them.
Oh, no.
I had to go buy it.
Oh, man.
Tom Rainey sent me one, and then I bought one on Amazon. So I got 2 copies. But Simon says he sent me 10.
Oh, man.
And he sent me the Master Margarita.
Yeah, oh man, that's such a record.
That's one too, right? That's a nice.
When did you meet Simon actually?
Oh, many years ago.
In the 80s already, or
70s actually.
Already.
Goldsbury and Ed Schuller here in New Jersey. Out in the early 70s, mid 70s, around 1976, 75. He was living in New York at the time.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. So that's where I met him. And then he moved back to Germany. He went to Cologne, and he's been there ever since. So I've known him many years. So that's how. And this one here.
Stefan? No, don't know this.
Turbolento.
No, I have to check it out. No.
Stefan Schultz Septet. I don't know. I didn't really. I guess I did this years ago. The record finally came out. He mailed me 4 copies. Who's on this record? Herb Robertson, Helen Bladsko, bass flute, alto flute, Frank Gutkowski.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Holger Warner, clarinet, Stefan Schultz, prepared piano, Robert Landferman, and John Schroeder.
Robert Landferman. I love his stuff, man.
Yeah. He's played bass.
Yeah.
So this one came out.
Oh, wow.
Stefan Schultz,
Turbulento. Okay, I'll check it out. I didn't know that.
And the one here,
Chris Raymond. No.
No. Koan.
Yeah.
It's a piano player from El Paso, Texas.
Check it out. Also, wow, you've done a lot.
It's a weird because none of the musicians are listed on the cover. None. So you don't know who's on it until you open it up.
Chris. Oh, but it says I checked it out. It's with Mack Goldsbury. This one.
With Mack, yeah.
Wow. Oh man, I need to get this one.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. It's me and Mack, and we're playing.
Oh man, okay, I have to check it out.
Lou Grassi.
Oh yeah, sure. Wow.
Lou Grassi on drums. Who else is? I can't remember. That one has like a.
Beautiful. I'll check it out. Definitely. Didn't know that.
Chris Ryman. It's his music. He plays piano.
Yeah.
He's a professor in El Paso. Eric Unsworth playing bass.
Okay.
And they're all professors at the school. Very good school, you know, the University of Texas.
Yeah. They have a long tradition, yeah, already.
Really,
yeah.
Really nice free music and classical, you know.
Yeah.
So they're the most recent ones that I'm on. So
it's beautiful.
yeah, you're really up on that, Samo. I mean, that's nice, man.
Sorry?
That's really, you know, like you're up on top of, you know, all these people. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, you know.
You definitely are. You definitely are a fan, you know.
Yeah, you know, I try to keep as much as you can nowadays to keep up with the music, because every day 20 records come out at least, you know. It's like so hard, you know, to keep up with everything new. So, but you try at least. So, yeah.
Yeah. It sounds good.
Yeah. So, but Herb, I just wanted to ask you this one question. I watched the other day on YouTube. There's one recording of you with Eberhard Weber, Rainer Bruninghaus, and Dave Barger, and it's like I didn't expect you in that lineup, but it sounds beautiful. And how did that happen, if you remember, with Eberhard?
Eberhard Weber, who that was like 1980,
89. It said like
89, right?
Yeah.
I was living in Brooklyn, and I got a phone call from Eberhard.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I guess he got my name. How the heck would he get my name? I don't even remember. And Dave, he got my name through somebody, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. And he called me in Brooklyn. I got a phone call. So it must have been someone who knew me, but obviously had my phone number. And hey, this is Eberhard Weber. You know, I'm doing a project with this. You know, I want to use Dave Bargeron and you on flugelhorn mostly. He said, you have flugelhorn. I said, yeah, I got flugelhorn, you know, because, you know, it's his, no drums. I mean,
different music, yeah.
You know, but he would have the, you know, Rainer would play all the drum stuff.
Yeah.
The synth stuff. But, yeah, it was pretty funny because he said, I don't want you to play any bebop. I said, you don't got to worry about that. Don't worry. No bebop.
No
said,
bebop.
Yeah, you know, that's why I won't play bebop. I'm okay, Eberhard, no bebop. You know, and I said, because a lot of long tones and phrases, you know, nice, beautiful brass, you know, and I went, okay, cool. So we did a little tour. I went over there. That was a few concerts. And that recording came out, I guess ECM sponsored the tour, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah.
And of course, it gets a little messed up a little bit. It's not really synced, right? I mean, you can tell the sound is off from the video a little bit.
Yeah, right? But still, like it's like
you can still hear it.
Really
and it's only one set. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, like 40 minutes. Yeah.
It's not the whole night, but yeah, that was pretty cool. But I remember people when they saw it in New York many years ago. I guess it was on some kind of like cable station before the internet came out. You know, before it was on YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
So Manhattan Cable had like an art channel, and someone saw it on that channel. It was broadcast, and they said, "Herb, wow, we saw you doing that. We never knew you could play like that." I said, "Yeah, I had to calm down. He didn't want any bebop." So I just played some, you know, that stuff, but that was a beautiful record. Yeah,
you sound amazing.
Well, it was never recorded again, but he put that. It's all his old music, right?
Yeah.
Written for that, Colors of Chloe and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
And I used to love Eberhard's records.
Amazing
when
stuff.
I was a kid from the 70s, early, you know. Yeah, so that's how that happened.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
And that's where I met Dave Bargeron.
Oh yeah. Also such a friend.
But I played with him with George band, George Crunt's Concert Orchestra.
Yeah,
George
really?
Crunt's, right?
Oh, you played with George also?
We were in that.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did a tour. Yeah, and we did European tour, and it was like Tim was in that band, Django Bates.
Oh man! Wow. Like an all-star orchestra now. Like always, George's bands were like, you know.
Yeah. He wanted Tim and me, and you know, he wanted to bring a little crazy element into the band. So he hired me. You know, I think who was playing lead trumpet? Marvin Stabb, which was
Oh wow, Marvin, yeah.
You know, it was like he said, I don't know, Herb. You know, he never knew me. You know, that's a different scene. All of a sudden, you remind me. You know, he goes, you sound like a voice. You know, like you're singing. It doesn't sound like a trumpet. It sounds like when you take a solo, it's like it's vocalizing. I'm going, yeah, sure, you know, whatever. You know, a lot of these guys did that, right? Rex Stewart came vocalizing, you know. So who was in that band? Yeah, it was him. You know, of course, Howard Johnson.
Oh yeah. Well,
then Dave was in that band. Dave Barjon, Dave Taylor. You know.
Amazing players.
Giorgiani on lead alto. It was that all-star band kind of thing, you know. Manfred Schief in the trumpet section. Myself and Ryan Kaiser. That's funny, you know. Funny band. You know, Ryan's playing lead with Wynton Marsalis in the Lincoln Center Orchestra.
Yeah.
You can watch all that stuff on YouTube, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
So that was cool, you know. Yeah, it's kind of weird how I ended up in those situations sometimes.
It's funny when you mention
out
all
of my context, right? It's cool, you know. I mean,
that's amazing, man. Well, if you're a good player, that's what you do. So, you know.
Yeah, right. Can really bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks so much, Herb, for sharing all these thoughts.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. To hear part of your story, so that's beautiful. So,
yeah, there's some stories, just great Herb Robertson stories, road stories. You know, like in fact, when I did my 70th birthday Zoom in February, everybody says, "Okay, everybody, tell a Herb Robertson story."
Oh man,
crazy stuff I did on the road. You know.
Oh, but what were they? You remember?
Oh, I don't. Can't mention them on it. No. Getting lost, you know, sometimes not you know, crazy times. I don't know. I was young, whatever, you know. One time I missed a train or something. Hanging out with Steve Swell, dancing with all these girls, and then the band leaves without me, and you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, this stuff. Yeah.
Then I had to find out where the hotel was. You know.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Survived it somehow. You know. Some crazy stuff, crazy stories. You know.
Amazing, man.
It's fun. So it must have been really fun interviewing all these guys and gals, huh?
Yeah. I mean. You know, I've interviewed so many people like Tim and Mark Elias and Drew Grass and Tom Rainey. You know, especially this improvised scene I'm interested in because that's also what I do. And it's, you know, I love hearing this, how you hooked up with Mark and Tim and, you know, all these connections. It's kind of then makes sense how all this music came together, actually, you know. So it's fun to hear the history. You know, you guys created so much history basically already. So. You know, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was. We were right up there in the vanguard of stuff, you know.
Yeah. Like early 80s, you know.
In the 80s, man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a very creative time. I always have a theory. It could be every 20 years something new happens in jazz.
Yeah.
In creative music. That was the 80s. Remember, it was the 60s.
True.
And then the 80s. And then 2000. And now 2020.
Yeah, let's see what happens now.
Let's see what happens in the 20 once we get out of this
bullshit situation. Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Bizarre. I don't know, man. This is like the strangest times I've ever lived in this past year. 2020 was a blow off, man, right? You want to forget
it's like it wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I said so I don't want to remember it at all.
Bizarre.
You know?
Bizarre.
The crazy thing, we had Donald Trump here. Oh my God.
Yeah, even that, yeah.
Oof.
On top of that, also.
We survived that, man. It's amazing how we can survive anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Easy, but
still time. we'll make it. Music in the end, I think, always somehow we survive, or it did survive. So
yeah, right. Keep it going.
Yeah, keep it going. That's it.
Keep it going. And the music is the music. It just comes up through us.
Well, like you said, you got to do it for the love of it. I like that what you said, because in the end, otherwise, yeah,
you go crazy if you don't. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, really.
True. Who would do that if he didn't like that? So exactly. Yeah,
it's good to listen to a lot of music too. You know, I mean, I got to the point, you know, last year I said I wanted to listen to music. You know, because I'm home all the time.
Sure.
So I can listen to all the CDs that I never listened to, right? And start listening.
What do you usually listen to now? I mean, what did you listen to?
You know, I really listen a lot to old jazz. You know.
Oh, wow.
You know, not old bebop. You know,
yeah,
that's
bebop.
Old.
Yeah.
That's old.
Sure.
It's 60
that's
years old.
Sure.
So that's bebop. You know, yeah. You know, a lot of classical music.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I listen, avant-garde classical. You know, obviously. But I've been, you know, checking out some composers that I never listened to before.
Yeah.
Like Shostakovich or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I love Shostakovich, man. I did him last year, like everything.
Great stuff.
Yeah, right? Amazing. So dark, but so good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Something else. Yeah, so that was... I still got a lot of CDs to listen to. I don't know what to do with them. My neighbor comes in and says, why don't you get rid of all of this stuff, you know? I said, I don't know. What can I do with that? You know,
sure.
Who get rid of it? What do you mean get rid of it? It's like these are all classics I have here.
Exactly.
These are all like collector's items. Can't just throw them in the garbage.
Sure.
I mean, this isn't just bullshit here, man. This is some real
history. Yeah.
The best music ever. You know, I mean, I would never. You know, nobody else has a collection like that. I mean, we all do, actually. You know,
sure.
The ones who really want to have the music have it, right?
You do it, yeah.
Right, keep it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's cool.
Cool, Herb.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for.
Thanks a lot.
Dr. Jazz. Dr. Jazz.